Is it just me? La Roche Posay has a lot of moisturizers. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing for you all their newer Dermallergo moisturizers. A couple of months ago, I was doing a Target Shop With Me video and I saw these and I was curious about them. I looked at the ingredients, they seemed really interesting, so I decided to give them a try. This is La Roche Posay. The whole brand is based off of thermal spring water from the town of La Roche Posay. I have a whole video talking about the benefits of thermal spring water, specifically the La Roche Posay one, you know, the spray that you can buy. So check that video out if you are at all curious about thermal spring water and the spring water sprays in your skincare routine. But as a reminder, thermal spring water in theory is enriched in minerals, anti-inflammatory compounds, it's soothing, it's also rich in selenium, which may be beneficial for the health and vitality of your skin barrier. Now, this whole Dermallergo line, which to me, you know, I kind of chuckle because it sounds like a skincare ballet, Dermallergo. Like, I feel like I need tickets in order to attend. This whole line is geared to people who have sensitive skin. Now, sensitive skin is something that gets marketed to a lot, and it varies a lot from person to person. But basically, if you think of sensitive skin, it's really just a state of symptoms, maybe related to an underlying skin condition, or maybe related to something that you've been doing in your skincare routine. It could be related to hormones, stress, changes in the weather, but basically oftentimes it underscores maybe a little bit of a skin barrier defect where irritating stuff is getting in more readily and you're experiencing symptoms of burning, stinging, redness, discomfort, itch, all of which can vary from person to person quite a bit. So this line was designed for and tested on people who have very sensitive skin. That being said, if you have sensitive skin, just because this line is meant, you know, marketed to you, it doesn't mean that this is the end all be all, and it doesn't mean that any of their other moisturizers from this brand, because again, they have a ton, would not necessarily be in your best interest to consider as well. The Dermallergo moisturizing cream, let's start with that one. This has shea butter, glycerin, and dimethicone. Basic moisturizing ingredients. Shea butter helps reduce water loss, which is helpful for people who have sensitive skin because when the water loss aspect is minimized, then barrier function improves. Likewise, because it helps to act as a skin protectant, the shea butter will limit penetration of irritating things into the skin. Glycerin is very hydrating, it's a humectant. Dimethicone is also a skin protectant and helps reduce water loss. Dimethicone has a tendency to feel very lightweight on the skin, it's not greasy, and in certain moisturizers, depending on how they're formulated, dimethicone can lead to almost a pore blurring effect. It tends to feel better for people who have oilier skin in comparison to something heavier like mineral oil. The unique aspect of this product line is a compound called neurosensine, acetyl dipeptide cetyl ester. What the heck is this? Like any peptide in skincare, you have to take the claims with a couple of grains, if not a whole shaker's worth of salt. But I will say that this peptide holds promise for those of you who have symptoms of sensitivity. The way it supposedly works is by targeting the little nerves that course through your skin and encouraging them to release something called metenkephalin, which is an opioid. So it can have a calming, soothing effect and also can be helpful in theory for calming down itch and stinging sensations. In theory, this peptide, you know, it may sort of signal to your skin to kind of calm down. At any rate, peptides in skincare, they do have hydrating properties. You know, they help with moisture retention. As far as clinical studies on this peptide, there's actually a paper that looks at this peptide. What they do is they take women and they have them apply capsaicin to the skin, which is what comes from chili peppers, and it burns, right? As a matter of fact, if you ever use you know, a lot of the over-the-counter pain-relieving creams, they have capsaicin in them. You apply them and it like burns and burns and burns, and that burning sensation kind of depletes some of the pain fiber nerves so that they don't cause you pain, basically. But it's, you know, it's uncomfortable. So what they did is they had the participants apply capsaicin, and then they applied this peptide on one side of their face or another peptide on the other side of the face. The study was looking at 2 peptides. Anyway, this peptide, along with the other one, both of them independently did in fact cut down on the burning of capsaicin in this study. The other peptide, I'm blanking on what it's called, did it a little bit faster than the one in the La Roche Posay, you know, the neurosensine. But anyway, all that to say, there is a little bit of clinical research on actual people to suggest that this peptide may help calm down those symptoms of burning and stinging that a lot of people with sensitive skin cope with. Salvia militarizia root extract. Now, root extracts are rich in anti-inflammatory compounds and antioxidants, which can be soothing and help relieve, in theory, some of the symptoms of sensitivity. Maybe they help improve barrier function. They're supporting of skin barrier recovery. This particular root extract has actually been demonstrated to limit the symptoms of skin hyperreactivity, albeit it's a industry type study, but it has been examined in the setting for which this particular product line, you know, is sort of geared to, which is sensitivity. Sphingomonas ferment. Now, Sphingomonas is a bacteria. It's referred to as an extremophile. Basically, certain bacteria, they are meant to live in very extreme conditions. And because of that, they technically, are of interest, I guess you would say, for the things that they produce to allow them to survive extreme conditions. Now, bacterial ferments in skincare is nothing new. They are, in theory, very hydrating, rich in anti-inflammatory compounds, and you can imagine how this particular bacteria would be of interest. But this particular ferment is actually rich in sphingolipids, which can serve as precursors for ceramides. Ceramides are the lipids that are part of your skin barrier. When we think about the skin barrier, it's the outermost layer of the skin. It's the protective layer. It keeps irritating stuff out. And that's really important if you have sensitive skin. Anything that's going to aid in limiting penetration of irritants is, in theory, going to help out your symptoms. You think of the barrier as like a brick wall where the bricks are these little shells of fully mature and now dead cells called corneocytes, and they are enmeshed in this lipid mortar, and ceramides are part of that. Now, when you have problems with your skin barrier, when skin barrier integrity is compromised, maybe related to environmental exposures that are causing you sensitivity, or an underlying medical condition, an underlying skin condition, maybe you've been using too many products and now you have very sensitive skin. Part of that can be related to an impaired barrier, and there's research that anything that applied to the skin that can help stimulate ceramide synthesis will help in supporting barrier recovery, ultimately allowing for a calming effect and reducing those symptoms and facilitating healing. So in theory, this ferment has these sphingolipids that can serve as precursors for ceramides that may stimulate your skin barrier to recover, making its own ceramides. They also have a moisturizing night cream though. Comes in an airless pump, just like the moisturizing cream, but this one is blue on the outside, whereas the other one is white. Very similar. I will say the night cream is geared more towards inclusion of antioxidants. Now, antioxidants applied to the skin, I have a whole video on this, by the way. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to antioxidants in skincare. It's not so much, putting them on your skin, but rather you have to have the right ones. They have to be at the right place and the right time. The antioxidants in the night cream include niacinamide, as well as a stable synthetic form of vitamin E, tocopherol acetate. Now, niacinamide is a wonderful ingredient for a variety of issues. It helps actually with hyperpigmentation because it reduces the spread of pigment packets from the pigment-producing cells and melanocytes to neighboring keratinocytes. So it helps cut down on hyperpigmentation. But in regards to sensitivity, it also helps calm down redness. It helps to cut down on oxidative stress because it is an antioxidant. And again, oxidative stress in the skin that overwhelms your skin's ability to manage that can lead to damage of the lipid barrier and heightened symptoms of sensitivity. Furthermore, niacinamide actually can help in improving ceramide production in your skin. So ultimately that supports barrier recovery and better barrier function. Niacinamide also is thought to have anti-aging properties. It's an antioxidant, and it may help with reducing skin yellowing warning as it relates to photo aging. But specifically for sensitivity, which is what this line is geared towards, niacinamide makes perfect sense, except if you are sensitive to niacinamide, which I know a lot of you all are. Niacinamide is a great ingredient, but side effects that can happen for some people are burning, stinging, redness, and irritation. So those of you out there who have encountered this, you're not gonna wanna use this night cream because it has niacinamide in it. Now, we don't know what the percentage strength of niacinamide is. In my opinion, a lot of the symptoms of sensitivity are going to be more likely with niacinamide at percentages greater than 4 or 5%. A lot of products these days put a very high percentage of niacinamide, and I suspect that that may underscore the symptoms of sensitivity for a lot of people. I'm not sure what the percentage of niacinamide in this formula is, but if you are sensitive, you may want to avoid this. Now, the tocopherol acetate is a stable form of vitamin E. Vitamin E applied to the skin, it helps cut down on lipid peroxidation from environmental aggressors that generate free radicals like sun exposure, pollution, infrared radiation, visible light. And so it has anti-aging properties and may support barrier recovery. I have a video, as a side note, that breaks down the role of vitamin E in skincare, its benefits, etc. Whole dedicated video. So I'm not going to reiterate those points, but definitely check that out because we talk more about it there. But one of the benefits of topical vitamin E in a well-formulated product is that it actually can help improve the levels of your skin's own antioxidant system. So it kind of helps, in a sense, make your skin better equipped to handle environmental aggressors. Like the other one, this has the salvia root extract. As far as these two moisturizers, how do they compare in terms of the way that they perform? Frankly, I don't really appreciate any difference. I find they both work well for me. They're both moisturizing. I don't really feel or notice any difference between the two. I'm going to show you here me applying the night cream on one side of my face and the regular moisturizing cream on the other. Remember, the regular moisturizing cream, it has dimethicone in it, whereas the night cream does not. I don't think that makes a huge difference aside from the way they feel. You do kind of feel when you are putting the regular cream on your face, you do kind of feel almost a lightweight film, whereas you don't have that feeling with the night cream. So there is a subtle difference in the way these two products feel on the skin, but at the end of the day, in my experience using them, they both moisturize dry, sensitive skin. There is also an eye cream in this line, which I have not tried. The eye cream, like the night cream, has niacinamide. So if you are looking to improve some of the visible signs of aging around the eyes, but you also want something that's going to support the barrier, then the eye cream has that in the formula. Now, eyelid skin is very delicate, so it's even more prone to symptoms of sensitivity, and a lot of people develop eyelid dermatitis as a consequence of things that come in contact with the skin. It's a very vulnerable location. The eye cream has shea butter and glycerin. There is no tocopherol acetate in the eye cream. So that's kind of a difference between the eye cream and the night cream. The eye cream has niacinamide, whereas the plain moisturizing cream does not. The eye cream also has the salvia root extract. Again, I have not tried the eye cream, but I will tell you this. I have applied both the regular moisturizing cream and the night cream around my eyes with no problem. I don't think that there is anything too unique about the eye cream to suggest that it's going to offer something specific for around your eyes. Now, if you already have a face moisturizer that you like, but maybe you don't want to use it around your eyes, or it has an active ingredient like alpha hydroxy acid, and it's too irritating, then I could see choosing a separate eye cream. But for me, I've just always found that in the vast majority of cases, just using my regular moisturizer around my eyes is just fine. And their moisturizing cream and their moisturizing night cream are not really an exception to that. I find that they both go on well there. Now, the other aspect of this line that may be suitable for people who have very sensitive skin is that it is free of parabens. Now, parabens are preservatives that are more than safe. They are great ingredients, and they're actually safer than a lot of alternative preservatives, namely like methyl isothiazolinone, which a lot of people end up becoming allergic to. Parabens are a pretty low risk of allergy, but some people are sensitive to them. So if you are sensitive, then this line is free of that. Now, this line claims that there are no preservatives and they can get away with that because it's in this, special airless pump packaging. All right, so the products overall, I don't have anything negative to say about them. I like them. They're great basic moisturizers. I think they are a good option if you have very sensitive skin. But the elephant in the room with these is the price point. They are each around $30. The moisturizing cream and the night cream, I think, are like closer to $31, $32, whereas the eye cream is, closer to $30. So that's kind of steep, in my opinion, for 40 ml of moisturizer. I think a lot of what you are paying for is the packaging system. While these moisturizers are good, I think one of the hallmark features of them that we are kind of putting a lot of our faith in is that neurosensing, that peptide that may have a calming effect. People who do have sensitive skin, some find that this particular moisturizing line helps with their symptoms of sensitivity. Is it because of this peptide, or is it just because these are good basic moisturizers? Would they have achieved that reduction in symptoms using just any basic moisturizer out there? That is a kind of question we should be asking, but we won't get the answers to because these are cosmetics. There aren't going to be those kind of comparison trials. If you are somebody who has sensitive skin and you're looking to La Roche Posay moisturizers, because they do a really good job with their moisturizers, for sure. Instead, consider the Lipikar AP Triple Repair Moisturizing Cream, extra dry skin, body, and face. That's a mouthful. This is from their Lipikar line. So the Dermallergo is from their Toleriane line. The Lipikar Triple Repair Moisturizing Cream. If you'll recall, those of you who love La Roche Posay, they used to have a Lipikar AP Balm. This is basically the same thing. They just kind of, I won't say I don't know if they reformulated it or they, reintroduced it. A few things changed. I think the packaging is now recyclable. And they also have tested this on the skin of people who are undergoing cancer treatments, which leave your skin incredibly sensitive. This product can be used on the face and the body. And if you are new here, I am a huge fan of moisturizers in a big pump that can be used from head to toe, and we don't necessarily have to have a smaller cream for our face and a separate one for our body. I just really like the efficiency of that, and I find it tends to be a lot more cost effective. Now, this formula is perfectly fine for people who have very sensitive skin. Remember, it was tested on people who are undergoing cancer treatments. It is meant for sensitive skin. It differs in terms of the ingredients a bit. Like the Dermallergo night cream, this has niacinamide. So if you're sensitive, this is not going to be a good option for you. But the niacinamide, for the face, good for the barrier. But I also point you to the niacinamide for those of you who are dealing with hyperpigmentation on the body, like especially in sensitive areas, under the arms, under the breast, between the thighs. A lot of ingredients that target hyperpigmentation, they end up being too irritating in those areas. Niacinamide often is a good choice because in addition to tackling the hyperpigmentation, it cuts down on the sensitivity of those areas. It helps with the barrier and it's moisturizing. But this also has ceramide in it. That's a lipid that is part of the mortar in your skin barrier. And applying ceramide to the skin can help improve ceramide synthesis in your skin, supporting barrier recovery. This has dimethicone in it, so it doesn't feel greasy or heavy on the skin. It has a different bacterial ferment. It has Vitriosilla filiformis, which is going to be rich in antioxidants, possibly have soothing effects. It also has shea butter in it to reduce water loss. So the Dermallergo moisturizers are around $30, $31 for 40 mLs. This is $20 for 400 mLs. The main difference with this and the Dermallergo is really that neurosensing, that peptide that is supposed to make the nerves in your skin produce more opioid to calm and soothe. But we don't know that that happens for sure. I mean, there's research to support that it's beneficial, but not like rigorous research. So All that to say, I do think that you can get improvement in the symptoms of sensitivity using this as well, and it's a lot less expensive. Like, life has gotten very expensive, so I don't think choosing this over those is cutting any corners in terms of your skincare, and it's gonna save you a lot of money. One thing I've always pointed out in my videos is, like, when you use a body lotion, always consider trying it on your face. There's nothing necessarily about body moisturizers that are contraindicated for facial application, but the one issue is that a lot of body moisturizers, they're much thicker in consistency. They can feel heavy on the skin. That heaviness is not always acceptable for people in general, especially people who have very oily skin. They're like, no, thank you. But here we're talking about sensitivity. People who have sensitivity secondary to rosacea, they also sometimes can find that if they use moisturizers that are really, really heavy, it actually aggravates their rosacea symptoms, like generates flushing symptoms because it's heavy, slows down the evaporation of sweat. I will say with this, it is not that, it's not that thick formula. It's rich, but it's not heavy. And, you know, I think because this uses dimethicone and it does not have like petrolatum, which can feel heavier on the face, I think that for that reason, you'd be surprised how this is actually pretty comfortable. It's been tested to be used on the face, and I think you will be surprised at using this on the face. All of these, if I didn't already mention, are free of fragrance as well. Fragrance is a common allergen, and it can be irritating to the skin, especially if you have sensitivity. All right, y'all, so that concludes the Dermallergo review. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Let me know if you want more reviews on La Roche Posay moisturizers or any of their skincare products. I have tried many of them, and they have a lot. Some I'm interested in. Let me know in the comments. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.